All the moves ahead of the news. No financial advice, of course.
Surely, you've noticed you find yourself outnumbered.
I don't think so.
Don't forget your stop loss. There is no help in rushing to be rich. Person, big week. Very positive. Next week, shorter trading week. Theta machines were very fast. This is the Discord in the background, as you can see. News articles, everything from news, memes, gifs, hilarious jokes, breaking news again. Loads of chat from everybody, along with like market data that can help you in the trade live at the time. This is all on the free side of Discord, along with a really great discussion about how the layman would understand this particular company, this particular sector. But we're now going to look at the charts, those fantastic, wonderful charts. This is the weekly time frame. We just had the weekly close. On the weekly, I would pay attention to diagonal trend lines. Here you've got two, the two that are important. One has been broken. You can also see that that break came at a period of hesitation here on the weekly. That on the daily, we'll talk about in a minute. Downward sloping diagonal yet to be broken. Price then resting below that second one, giving us the potential for a bump and run. You've got a 236 Fibonacci, which I've overlaid with my own fib as well as the Rocky Outcrop toolkit. That Rocky Outcrop toolkit, you get it free with the paid side of Discord, which is a brilliant resource. You should definitely check that out. It's an option for you as a trader. There's a 236. Price action breaking that at 150, thereabouts, would be very significant on the weekly time frame. Open, close, open, close, open. Above that 236, huge moves will happen. It could be that, or it could be breaking the diagonal trend line here. If that happens on the weekly, then you might see a Freddy come back for a retest, see that hesitation on the weekly again. Now, this is the trend line to look to break. The prior monthly high also comes in at around $2. Getting back above $2 on the daily time frame, very, very significant. That's the weekly, right? Now, we'll drop down to the daily, where you've got that break of the first trend line. You can see how significant that was. Open, close before the breakout move, reaching that approximate level of import on the second diagonal, the second more higher downward sloping diagonal. Now, the important thing to look to on this daily time frame, along with those two diagonals, is the Fibonacci that I just marked out and this gap to the top side. Now, as you can see, this gap was significant at this point of resistance in around the end of August. Price moved into that area at the start of January, so we'll just narrow that down, and that's all that's left. All that remains of this gap now is there marked in red. It should be actually white. We'll just make it white, so neutral in color. And you've got that break, that area, very, very significant at the top side resistance, because then you've defeated the prior monthly high, you've closed the gap on price, you've broken the downward sloping diagonal, and you'll be back above the prior high within this formation. So you start looking at a trend line that goes something like that, and you'd be looking at a breakout here. And where does that intersect with important horizontal levels? Looking left, we've got those from the gap, we've got the horizontal resistance before the breakdown, we've got the point at which the breakdown ended, now confluent with the previous body closes, and the 236 at 164. So a big range in price action should we get the breakout from this downward sloping diagonal here. We've got an overhead level of resistance that might be relevant. We've got a prior monthly high. We've got the gap to look to. We've got the resistance from price action before the breakdown. We've got this macro 236 on the weekly. We've got the 382. Underneath, we've got the 236 and the prior weekly high. And that gives us a big range that we can look to. We've got to include this level of resistance. It's obviously important with regards to that breakdown as well. And so you're maybe looking at all of this area as an important range in price action for LivePerson. If price action could manage to break above this 236, as you can see it here, we'll make it even more obvious. There's your 236 from the daily. There's your 382, weekly, daily, both relevant. That's resistance here. Does price action find resistance again? And then you've got your 50% retracement, which is at the top of these guys. All of these candles. Golden pocket comes in line with a 50% plus retracement from where you are to the prior high, a 618 from the all-time low from this high. At which point you're looking at a reversal formation having expressed the entirety of its own measured move. If you look at this from the low to the high here, talking about that as your reversal formation. Drag that guy, drop it on top, and you've had that move up 50% retracement, golden pocket even better. So this is what you're looking about, building up a picture of where price could go over the long term, because we closed today, the weekly time frame, then breaking that down into the daily, you can see you've got obvious levels of significance within this zone, and the top side, the most extreme top side there in at around 580, and the support area in around 157. Should you break into this, break the downward sloping diagonal, then all those zones become relevant. And I'd be looking at extremely violent moves to the top side. So after that area breaks, then there's an awful lot of significance, focusing on what could come soon for LivePerson. Down to the 4 hour and put that even greater context. You're on extended hours here, but it gives us the pizza slice. Downward sloping resistance. Price action managed to move to the top side there. Support underneath, you break through the pizza wedge, you give your measured move from this guy. It's all very roughly drawn, but drop that on, you can see that the area to break in at around 173, 179, that's the really crucial level to see price then go on and test the downward sloping diagonal at 220, break that, and you'll be up testing these important green horizontal levels that we marked in. After these get broken, I'd expect resistance to turn support, and you could see big, huge moves on LivePerson, but we'll talk about that at another time. You've also broken out of this pizza wedge. You've got the retest. Now you can see potentially price flying to the top side. Breaking back above 236 here, be 164, 165. Holding that 50% retracement on the break of the pizza wedge would be in confluence with a bullish move. So really, you're looking at LivePerson now, not necessarily where's the best place to buy back in, because you've had a significant retracement and 80% of those areas have been covered in price's most recent low down at 1.2. So any test of that area was a significant opportunity to get that buy. Anything less than that in price, likely very, very interesting. Breaking below the golden pocket here would be significant. Testing this macro resistance line, also a very obvious level for a bounce. But prices at the minute in a bullish formation, putting in a subsequent bullish formation, could break up in a series of cascading pizza slices. Measured moves taking us to long-term important horizontal levels of resistance. On the daily time frame, we've marked out how that cascades in a huge big move. And the weekly, you can see clear levels there. Now, you might see Tradespotting, that looks like dollars, just cash, not cash, right? There's the big moves we talked about. Turning off the drawings, putting that now in the context of price. And just look at it yourself. On that downward sloping diagonal, if price breaks it, it's fairly obvious that you'll get a large violent move to test this downward sloping trend. How far can we test against this move down on the breakout move? And all of this confirmation, period of consolidation, it was previously a very strong and obvious trend. Defeating that takes superhuman effort. So congratulations, well done. Hats off to you, right? And the swan's hat's about to pop. So you've got this on the daily, really clear, relentless downtrend. You guys have managed to do magnificent work. You put it on the weekly and put all of price action in context. This now is an obvious opportunity. Had the initial drop down, has something equivalent now. Look what price was doing in between times. It's been entirely bullish apart from this one huge move down. And another test back up again would be a test as this can return to its previous behavior, which has been its entire existence. So that golden pocket becomes relevant and you start looking at $10, right? You start looking at $9 to $10. Why is that relevant? For other reasons. Well, you go back to the daily time frame, and if this formation breaks, this gap closes, you're testing that downward sloping long-term diagonal, then immediately you start looking at this gap to the top side and that second island in price, which would be closed above what is our top side most extreme target on the elasticity. So then episode 2 begins. No, series 2. Well, actually, at this stage, you're a veteran, right? You'll be talking to the next group of live people investors who themselves see $9 as great value on this AI firm, especially something American, and Trump's looking to boost equities in the markets generally. You'll be looking at extension targets on breakouts to the top side. We went through this recently and saw that the 1.13, that's relevant for long-term moves. 1.14, that was the all-time high. Had this retracement, we measured it back up again at 1.14, also the next peak. 1618, another important level. And then we've got this Fibonacci that measures the all-time high to the most recent low and all of those extension targets, which also fit in with extremely high moves on LivePerson. And there'll be other communities and other people talking about LivePerson in the same level of enthusiasm with the same fresh new introduction to the stock in and around these levels, and they'll be interested in it and they'll see this, all of this, as the reason that their buys here are a good decision and that targets on LivePerson are up at around these levels. And when price action does get up there, maybe it finds a little bit of resistance, it'll come back down, it'll find support at one of these important support levels that it previously put in an awful lot of interest at which point those will be new buyers who see everything that's happened subsequently as indicative of bullish moves, and they'll be looking at this retracement, turning it an extension and targeting one of these things. And that's what good traders understand. You get a lot of chocolate on the biscuit down here, and other traders also understand, good traders, you get a lot of chocolate on your biscuit here and here. And you're just very lucky sometimes. Very, very lucky sometimes when you make it to this level, because you know there is no rush, no help in rushing to be rich, and plenty of wealth in waiting to be right. Thank you very much for watching. Welcome to Trend, where hopes and dreams meet ends and means. Be sure to check out that Discord. That's the free side of it I showed you earlier. Rocky Outcrop Discord, where you'll get an absolutely brilliant community of people on your side, helping you achieve the same objectives, trying to do the same thing you are. And there's an awful lot of activity on that Discord, and that's just the free side. If you want to join the paid side, check out Rocky Outcrop's Patreon, patreon.com/RockyOutcrop, and you'll get brilliant indicators. I can tell you it's brilliant, brilliant value. Check it out. It's worth a good look. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for another brilliant week. Everybody who's in the community, I appreciate you so very much. Thank you.
Can you hear me calling out to me? You know that I'm falling and I don't know what to say. Come along, baby, we better make a start. You better make it soon before you break my heart. Oh.